From Edison, the Manchester City goalkeeper. So Boris Johnson's holding the press conference at 4. Whenever that happens, and sometimes there can be the odd slippage in terms of times, as memory serves me right from a couple of weeks ago, you'll hear it here on BBC Radio 5 Live. But if you want uninterrupted football commentary of this game in the service, then that's why at the minute we're on Sports Extra as well. So you might just at some point want to retune for 5 Live Sports Extra if you want the uninterrupted football of Manchester City, leading by a goal to nil. Walker-Peters though forward in the penalty area, right-hand side. Walker-Peters with the cross. Adams at the far post, stabs it down into the ground, sliced by Ruben Diaz. Doesn't go behind, bounces just outside the penalty area, and then it allows a big hoof from Kyle Walker to clear for Manchester City. But plenty of vocal encouragement for Southampton as they look for the equaliser, trailing by a goal to nil. Bertrand on that left-hand side. Gineppo, was he fouled? Mike Dean says yes, free kick. Grimsby Town 1, Scunthorpe United 0 is the latest score in League 2. You know, you have to improvise at times in these socially distanced measures that we're working within. The other week, Leon Osman, to get my attention, threw a sweet at me, hit me on the side of the head.
I wouldn't waste a sweet.
No. Andy Gillies has got a brolly that he waves in my direction just in case if I miss a
Wait, I'll
score
get mine
line.
as well. I'll get mine.
All right,
There
I
we
can't go wrong. I'll be prodded from the left and prodded from the right. Midway through the first half, City lead by a goal to nil.
This is not what you want though. Ward-Prowse on a wide free kick. We've seen it all the time. I go mad. Why do people dangle their legs and give free kicks away when this guy's on the ball? It baffles me.
And it should be an in-swinger, and indeed it is from Ward-Prowse. A flat delivery, headed away by Ward. Goal after 16 minutes. De Bruyne with the assist. Cancelo inside. Gundogan runs forward on the halfway line, passes the ball to De Bruyne. Challenger came across from Ryan Bertrand. Bertrand has stayed down. Southampton players are appealing about Kevin De Bruyne. I don't think there was anything intentional from De Bruyne. He's been shown a yellow card. Don't actually think that he saw Ryan Bertrand coming in. As he's turned, he's turned into Ryan Bertrand.
Well, what he does is he didn't check his shoulder when he was receiving the ball, so he thought he could just turn, and as he's taking the touch with his back foot, with his left foot, as he's turned to then pass it with his right foot, Bertrand's come in and then he's kicked him on the shin, and no, I thought he was a bit unlucky there, but he has caught Bertrand and it was slightly high up, but there was no intention in it. He just didn't check his shoulders, De Bruyne.
Well, he's having a word with Mike Dean, but Mike Dean had no hesitation. The yellow card shown to the Belgian international as Colchester United are level at home to Morecambe, and St Mirren 0, St Johnstone 1 is also a latest score in the Scottish Premiership. Bertrand is back on his feet. That's the ovation you can hear from those supporters who are scattered across that stand over on the far side as some dark and ominous clouds lurk over St Mary's. Southampton 0, Manchester City 1, and we've been playing for 25 minutes. A free kick to the home side, taken by Vestergaard, right-footed, downfield towards Adams, beaten in the air by Stones. Out of play it goes for a Southampton throw. Bertrand, who's back on the field of play, is going to take that throw level with the penalty area. Red shirts with a white sash, black shorts from left to right as we look here in the main stand, almost on the halfway line. Ings back to Bertrand. Gineppo coming from an offside position. Flag is raised on this near side.
Do you know what I've noticed about Pep Guardiola? I bet you he's superstitious, because he's changed his coat again, and I bet you if City win, he'll wear that same coat for the next game. I've noticed that.
Well, he's wearing the duvet coat, isn't he? I would describe it.
He had a different one on the other day. They didn't get the result.
Yeah.
Chops and changes. Maybe that's my psych head on.
Well, are you superstitious?
Not really, no.
All right. I just wondered with you. I hope they don't go on a long winning run then, Manchester City, because he'd be sweating buckets if he was still wearing that come the springtime, wouldn't he?
Well, if they win, he won't care.
Well, they are winning at the minute, but Djenepo's forward for Southampton. Again, the referee's played the advantage. Djenepo crosses the ball. Walcott towards Ings. Ings' first-time header wide. They're appealing for a penalty. Mike Dean has signalled a goal kick. Danny Ings is complaining about the challenge from Ruben Dias. It was a first-time ball in by Theo Walcott. As Djenepo sent over the cross, Walcott was looking for Ings. I would imagine this will be checked. Everything's checked by VAR.
Yeah, I mean, even Theo Walcott was going mad, but Dias has gone in. Theo Walcott's volleyed the ball in towards Danny Ings in the penalty area, probably right on the penalty spot. And Danny Ings has gone ahead of the ball, but Dias has lifted his foot up really high, and they're saying that's affected how Danny Ings should have headed the ball. And you're right, because really he should have scored that opportunity, but he was completely put off. But the game appears to have played on, and Mike Dean's got no issues with that.
Yeah, nothing awarded, and it remains 1-0 to Manchester City as the rain sweeps in once more here on the south coast. Raheem Sterling, his goal is still the difference. Lifted forward by Rodri, comes off the shoulder of Ferran Torres. Hardly mentioned Ferran Torres so far in the commentary. Walcott picks up the ball and turns over the halfway line. Southampton are attacking. Walcott, right hand side, look towards Danny Ings, but just running back into position was Dias, off his legs behind for a corner.
And that's what I was talking about, wingers with confidence. They just run, no hesitation. Theo Walcott picks the ball up, the fans are shouting Theo, he's just driving, he knows that no one's going to catch him, dribbles in, tries to play Danny Ings in, and it was just deflected out for a corner. And again, Ward-Prowse on the out swinging corner, which has been so successful. He's going to aim for Bednarek and Vestergaard, so Manchester City will have to be at their best to defend this.
Manchester City have every white shirt back inside their penalty area. Edison, Bolton Wanderers 0, Tranmere 1. In the Championship, Middlesbrough have levelled at St Andrews. Sorry, Karen. Birmingham City 1, Middlesbrough 1.
I didn't hear that.
Mansfield Town 0, Southend United 1 in League 2. Southend United picking up a little bit. They've won their last two down at the bottom of League 2. They're leading at Field Mill, and Swindon Town 1, Charlton Athletic 0. Manchester City are attacking. Walker with the cross from the right-hand side, headed away by Walker-Peters. Walcott to Romeo. Walker-Peters now the right back for Southampton, and it comes off the shins of Raheem Sterling, and it cannons out of play for a throw. Fleetwood Town are leading Wigan Athletic by 1-0 in League 1. Another goal at Brentford, John Southall.
It's getting messy for Reading. Brentford 3, Reading 0, and Buemo again, this time 14 yards out, tucked it into the bottom right-hand corner. Poor defending from Reading. Brentford lead 3-0.
Tomorrow, 5 Live Premier League Sunday from 12:30. Tottenham Leicester City at 2:15. Manchester United Leeds United at 4:30. Imagine if supporters were allowed into that for Old Trafford. That would be a tasty atmosphere. And West Bromwich Albion against Aston Villa to follow at 7:15. Here we are though at St Mary's. Southampton 0, Manchester City 1, half an hour played. And it's going to be a throw to Manchester City, which is taken by Cancelo, playing at left back. Walker coming back into the side, Cancelo switching as Mendy is the one who makes way. Manchester City are probably, when you look at the festive fixtures, one of the losers in the way that the fixtures have been worked out. As the ball is volleyed by Gundogan to Raheem Sterling. De Bruyne is going on ahead of him, but Walcott, he stops. I think he's gone and caught one in the face there. It was accidental, but he stopped playing, either the face or the throat. Let's get an update from Luton whilst there is a stoppage. Nikesh Rugani.
Yeah, it's Luton 0, Bournemouth 0. Bournemouth looking the more likely to break the deadlock. Lots of nice build-up play, no absolute clear-cut chances yet. In fact, Luton have had the best chance so far. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall had a left-footed free kick from around 20 yards out. Well saved by Asmir Begovic, but it remains Luton 0, Bournemouth 0.
Queen's Park Rangers have just taken the lead at Wycombe. QPR without a win in 6, Wycombe without a win in 9, but at Adams Park it's Mark Warburton's side who lead in the Championship and will stay in the Championship. Juliet Farrington at Huddersfield.
Now into the penalty area, cuts inside.
We still lead what? to do was put it into the back of an empty net, though. Watford have stepped it up since going a goal behind, close to equalising through James Garner. That was on 15. A superb save, though, by Ryan Schofield denied Watford that opportunity. 31 gone here. Huddersfield still lead Watford 1-0.
Bednarek goes all the way back to McCarthy. Thanks, Jules. Downfield, headed forward by Diaz. Romeo gets there before Kevin De Bruyne, but it was Rodri winning the ball back for Manchester City. Plays it out to Sterling. His forward ball. De Bruyne wasn't expecting it. A little bit off balance, and as a result, it runs away from the Belgian international. Ward-Prowse goes back to his goalkeeper, almost in a sky blue outfit. McCarthy, we heard from in the build-up to the game on BBC Radio 5 Live, and now it's with Walker on that far side. Walker forward, caught in possession, free kick. How would you assess the state of the game at this stage, Karen?
I think Manchester City have dealt with Southampton really well because, like I said, the pressing, the intensity, and what they've done is they've just moved the ball really quickly, 1 and 2 touch. And the goal itself, when Southampton press them, Ederson just went, fine, I'm just going to skip all the links. But there is still a threat to this Southampton side. You can never, ever write them off. They're consistently good. They've got some fantastic attacking players. So it's a really, really close game.
Yeah, and then that threat is borne out by their record at home this season. They've scored at least 2 goals in each game, despite the fact even when they've not won, they've won 4 and lost 2 of their 6 in the Premier League at home this season. Huddersfield Town 2, Watford 0. Close your ears, Karen. Middlesbrough now leading at Birmingham by 2 goals to 1. And let's get news of that goal at Wickham from Andy Stevenson.
Yes, QPR taking the lead in very strange circumstances. The ball was on the right-hand side. I'm pretty sure it was Ilias Chair who put the ball across. Wickham centre-back Jason McCarthy stuck his leg out to block the cross, but he's ended up deflecting the ball into the goal past Ryan Alsop, who got a hand on it but couldn't keep it out. Wickham 0, QPR 1.
And to Juliet at Huddersfield.
A second for Huddersfield as well against Watford, this time straight from a corner. It was Toffolo who wheeled away in celebration. He's been given an own goal, though. An own goal by Capoue, giving Huddersfield a 2-0 lead over Watford.
Walcott with a cross, just headed wide. In fact, it came off a City player. It's gone behind for a corner. Adams was so close to an equaliser.
I mean, it was a wonderful ball in, and it actually came off of John Stones, and he knew nothing about it. Again, this is what we're talking about. You can't take your eye off Southampton for 1 minute. Theo Walcott picks the ball up just on the outside of the box, and he was initially looking for Che Adams. It missed him, and then it just smashed John Stones in the face. He knew nothing about it, and it's gone out for a corner.
Corner kick on this near side, the right. Looking for an equaliser, 1-0 down. Ward-Prowse right-hand side, right-footed corner. It's an away swinger. Vestergaard just drops around waist height, and his header from the big Dane over the top of the crossbar. But there is still so much to be encouraged from Ralph Hasenhüttl point of view.
Absolutely, they're massively in this game. You know, they're threatened. There is an over-reliance on set plays, though, and I have noticed that from watching them quite a lot. And you see the 2 good chances there come from an out-swinging corner from Ward-Prowse, looking for Bednarek and looking for Vestergaard. So, again, don't give away corners. It's a really easy comment to say, but it's a massive part of the game. When you've got someone like that, don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure. But they're still massively in this game and look strong as well on the counter-attack.
Well, certainly strong in the challenge there was Ward-Prowse dispossessing Torres. Walker beats his back. Bednarek, Polish international. Vestergaard comes under pressure from Bernardo Silva. Diagonal forward ball. Romeo puts it out of play. He was under pressure from De Bruyne and Sterling. So much intensity from both sides as they try and press each other here at St Mary's on BBC Radio 5 Live.
Do you know what? It's going to look 60 minutes. I'm going to be really interested to see what happens, because there's such an intensity to this game. Which team will drop off and who will capitalise on that intensity drop? Because it will happen because of the game fixtures and how fast they're going at each other.
Ward-Prowse back to Vestergaard. Forward ball. Romeo goes square. Bertrand reluctant to go on ahead of him at this stage. That's the one thing that I've noticed at the minute. Normally when I've seen Southampton, on a few occasions, both full-backs go quite high. At this stage, Bertrand isn't going, but Walker-Peters is. And he's latched onto this inside the penalty area. Back towards Walcott. Walcott's touch let him down not once but twice. Manages to keep the ball in play. Back in field to Walker-Peters. Ward-Prowse with the first-time cross. comes off the head of Ruben Dias. Again, Southampton threatening.
Brilliant header away, and it's all down this right-hand side, whether it be Walker Peters or Theo Walcott. They just need to find that clinical edge and make that final pass in the final third count.
In the teeming rain, Manchester City almost standing still with Sterling. Strokes it to Stones. Rodri takes over in the centre circle, playing from right to left. Back inside once more. It is torrential. Gundogan lays it off to De Bruyne. De Bruyne challenged by Vestergaard. Ball breaks free and forward and towards McCarthy. Certainly the Southampton supporters who are lucky enough to be inside the stadium this afternoon, enjoying the endeavour from the Southampton players as they go toe-to-toe with Manchester City.
Dano, you were saying about how Bertrand isn't able to get forward from the left-back position. You're right, usually the two full-backs bomb on. And the reason why he isn't is because he's absolutely petrified of Kevin De Bruyne in that little space in between, just in front of Vestergaard, because Silva's really hugging the touchline at times and the rotation, and they're just petrified. If he leaves, Kevin De Bruyne's in.
Romeo could be in trouble here. It looked like he'd gone over the top there, and he's caught Ferran Torres. He's shown a yellow card. That means that Romeo will be suspended for the Boxing Day trip to Fulham, because it's his 5th yellow card of the season. He just caught Ferran Torres, didn't he?
It's not a yellow card for me, that. I think he's just gone in, and I've seen Romeo put in a lot more aggressive tackles than that than that tackle that's got that yellow card. But Mike Dean's saw something different.
Certainly the Southampton players reacted, didn't they, thinking that you didn't think it was.
Well, I think again Southampton, if you look at all the stats, that they are very aggressive. They will give away fouls, they will put you under pressure, and I saw them do it against Bruno Fernandes, where they'll go in, and if a good player has time, they'll go in and put a tough tackle on. And Bruno Fernandes that day against Manchester United went missing for about half an hour. So they sometimes will tactically be a bit more aggressive in that central area.
Charlton Athletic have equalised at the county ground at Swindon in League One. Swindon Town 1, Charlton Athletic 1, Walsall 0, Port Vale 1. Walsall who've won their last 3, but Tom Pope has scored for Vale there in League 2. Manchester City lead by a goal to 0. Gundogan comes forward, running, he's overhit that, he'll go through to McCarthy. Let's get an update from the Rugby Union. Gloucester against Ulster with Gareth Rees-Owen.
20 minutes played, 7 apiece, a try for each team. Billy Burns and Lewis Rees-Ahmed. Plenty of mistakes, plenty of errors, loud crowd, very enjoyable game so far.
St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 1 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. Danny Ings has gone down here at the minute. Didn't see what had actually happened to Danny Ings, but it's always a worry for a player who's had such checkered history when it comes to injuries. We might get the opportunity to see it again, but it's always a worry. Let's get an update in the meantime from Stoke. Pat Murphy.
Stoke still lead 1-0, but Blackburn, after conceding that early goal to Powell, have really pushed forward. Some fine fluid passing movements from one of them. Douglas hit the inside of the Stoke post. Stoke 1, Blackburn 0.
Millwall Nottingham Forest, Will Perry.
Millwall 0, Forest 0. Jed Wallace's shot struck the Forest arm in the box despite his fierce remonstrations. No penalty given. Bennett had a low curling effort held by Samba in the Forest net, as well as Wallace's free kick. Millwall 0, Forest 0.
Did he go down off the ball then, Karen? Did you see it?
Knee test, checking the meniscus and all that. He's back on his feet now, thankfully, but he's going
coming off, yeah.
I think it's his knee. We obviously know he had knee surgery recently, and he knew straight away, and that's the last we're going to see of him today.
Well, he missed 3 matches last month, but they're not going to take any chances with Danny Ings, so he comes off the field of play, and Nathan Teller was the player who's come on to replace him. So that's the change that they've made. Nathan Teller, the midfielder, making only his 6th appearance. So Teller at the minute has gone towards the left-hand side of Adams, and Walcott's on the right-hand side. Or has Teller gone a little bit further up? No, Teller's actually gone inside.
It's like for like, I think.
Like, isn't it?
Yeah, which surprised me because I thought Theo Walcott would go up top. I thought he might have put Nathan Redmond on then as another wide player. So it's an interesting change, but Teller's quite good at pressing, and I think maybe that's what he sees, why he's put him into this 11 now.
So the 21-year-old is on for Danny Ings as the ball is scooped long by Vestergaard. Walcott goes down under the challenge from Cancelo. No foul, says the referee. Cancelo has the ball and turns. Strong defending, headed on by Gundogan. Sterling in field to De Bruyne, lays it off to Gundogan. Gundogan was caught there. And Mike Dean will show the yellow card to James Ward-Prowse. So both central midfielders for Southampton, Romeo and Ward-Prowse, have now been shown yellow by referee Mike Dean.
He's just getting his yellows out too easy. It's like it's a wonderful turn from Gundogan. He's just because he's so technically gifted. And Ward-Prowse, he's just little nick. He wasn't. Does my head in. Sorry, Deno.
Karen not impressed with referee Mike Dean as De Bruyne loses the ball. Ward-Prowse fed forward then by Walker-Peters. Ward-Prowse can come forward. Gineppo making the run out from in. Sometimes they do play that way, don't they, with the wingers inverted. Southampton for that overload, and Gineppo with the cross then to Walker-Peters, but he loses to Cancelo. Prodded forward by Sterling, given away. Southampton have it back, just on the edge of the area. Walcott running forward, and it'll go behind for a corner kick, and we'll go to Northampton. Sahel Sahi.
Lincoln are 2 up, Ian. It's Northampton 0, Lincoln 2. Free kick 5 yards away from the dead ball line, whipped in towards the near post. Tom Pepper with a stooping header. Northampton 0, Lincoln 2.
Barrow without a win in 10. Rob Kelly is in caretaker charge after David Dunn lost his job. They're leading third place Cheltenham by a goal to nil. And talking of caretaker managers, Bradford City are leading by a goal to nil. Mark Truman is in caretaker charge without a win in 9. They're 1-0 up against Cambridge. Cambridge United, who have been flying high. Corner kick then for Southampton, looking for an equaliser. We're close to half-time. Newport 2, Oldham 1. The leaders of League 2 are back in front, and you're up to date with the goals as they go in on 5 Live in the World Service. So Southampton 0, Manchester City 1. We're inside, we're about to enter the last 60 seconds of regulation time in this first half. Ward-Prowse, corner kick from the right hand side. Fades everybody, goes out all the way towards Bertrand on that far side. Manchester City keep every white shirt back, not breaking, just on the edge of their penalty area. Walker-Peters plays the ball out towards this near right touchline, toward Ward-Prowse. Walcott was fouled by Cancelo. Walcott slaps his hands on his thighs in frustration, and this is just in from the touchline, Karen, right-hand side, and offers the opportunity for that mean delivery from Ward-Prowse.
Absolutely, but I actually agree with Theo Walcott there. He's been fouled 3-4 times, and yet Mike Dean was quick to give a yellow card for something so cynical over there. It wasn't even a yellow card, but yet Theo Walcott's been fouled 3-4 times, and he's done nothing about it. So
very good take from the goalkeeper Edison at his far post. Leyton Orient have equalised at home to Crawley Town 1-1, and in League One Burton Albion have equalised at home to Doncaster Rovers. Burton 1, Doncaster Rovers 1. 2 minutes of added on time, which we are now into here on BBC Radio 5 Live, and the only goal that we've seen was from Raheem Sterling after 16 minutes. We'll be going around the grounds with Mark Chapman at half-time. Pep Guardiola getting animated. Down below, Walker goes all the way back to Edison, time to control it, then strikes it long downfield, and Bernardo Silva will give chase. The rain has relented. Bednarak is able to turn at the heart of that Southampton defence. His left-footed ball though goes straight to Kyle Walker. Walker gets away from the challenge of Adams, comes on the inside of Romeo, now with Ruben Dias inside the centre circle, and across to Theo Walcott on this near side. Walcott plays it back, Manchester City keeping the ball, protecting their slender lead. Stones now comes onto the ball on the halfway line. Gundogan lays it off and nipped in. Stepping forward out of defence was Vestergaard. Vestergaard now looking to try and release Walcott. It's going to go ahead of him and just shows too much to Ruben Dias. who comes across, and Ruben Dias's forward ball will play in Kevin De Bruyne, and dealing with that bouncing ball was Bednarek. Midway through the Southampton half, it'll be a Manchester City throw.
I just remembered that Mike Dean, I was at the Wolves-Villa game last week, he gave 11 yellow cards and 2 of them were red cards. So I wonder today, will we see 11v11 at the end of the game?
We're about 8 short at the minute, aren't we, with the 2 shown to Romeo and Ward-Prowse, and that 1 to De Bruyne. St Mirren 1, St Johnstone 2 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership, as Bernardo Silva on this near side, the left, plays it out of play for a throw. He was looking to try and play it back towards Raheem Sterling, but unintentionally has conceded a throw for Southampton, which probably will be the last bit of the action. I noticed that he's just looking at his watch now, is Mike Dean. So Rodri with that goal disallowed after 15 minutes, but 60 seconds later the goal did stand. A very good move from Manchester City, and Sterling with a first-time shot. However, Edison has been forced to make a couple of saves at the other end for what has been an entertaining game of football, Karen.
It has, it's really been entertaining. The intensity is it's top draw, you know, end-to-end at times. The movement of the ball, 1 or 2 touch, the pace of the passing as well. It's just a final third from probably more so than Southampton, because they've been in the 18-yard box of Manchester City quite a lot, but credit goes to John Stones and Ruben Dias, who have been very good for Manchester City in that sense, both playing centre-halves today.
That's Karen Carney here at half-time at St Mary's. Southampton 0, Manchester City 1, and this is Mark Chapman.
I tell you what, Karen, you talk about Pep Guardiola maybe being superstitious with his coat. What happens if he's superstitious with his radio commentary teams and they win today, and then you might be stuck with Ian for the rest of the season?
That's not a bad thing, although Ali Bruce Ball might, you know, is probably my partner in crime.
But we've already formed a bond. I'm wearing a hat, and I said, don't laugh at the hat, and she says, I'm not one to judge. We've already formed that bond. We're inseparable.
All right, but she's hitting you with an umbrella as well.
No, well, yeah.
Chappers, it's not like you stirring the pot. It's either you about fantasy football. Now you're trying to put a little break between me and Leno already.
He's just jealous. He's just trying to create that wedge.
Yes, nobody's allowed to be Ian's friend but me, Karen. Right then, back with Ian Dennis and Karen Carney for the second half, probably on 5 Live Sports Extra, because we're expecting the Prime Minister's press conference at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So we're going to bring you that on 5 Live, and our football service will switch to 5 Live Sports Extra. In the early game, finished Crystal Palace 0, Liverpool 7, Everton Arsenal and Newcastle Fulham, the other games to come today. Right, where are we going next? We'll go into the Championship, and we'll start at Brentford, who've had a very good 45 minutes at home to Reading. John Southall.
Yeah, they really have. Brentford 3, Reading 0. Very impressive from Brentford. They've dismantled Reading in this first half. 3 goals in the opening half hour. Reading's Brazilian keeper will not want to see the first goal again. Matthias Jensen with it, but Raphael should have dealt with his shot from the left of the area. Went straight through him. Jensen's first goal in over a year. The second was as brilliant as the first was shambolic. Bryan Mbeumo curled a delightful effort into the bottom left-hand corner from the right edge of the penalty area. Terrific finish. He then added the third, turned into Mbeumo. He made some room for himself, turned, finished into the right-hand corner. Another good finish, but Reading gave him far too much space. They've been very poor. A Laurent effort there, 1 chance of the half. The scoreline does not lie. Brentford have been ruthless. 3 shots, 3 goals. Brentford 3, Reading 0.
Next to Stoke, who lead Blackburn by a goal to 0. Pat Murphy.
I don't think Tony Mowbray, a craggy centre-back himself, have been too pleased at this Blackburn defenders allowing Nick Powell to have a free header, glorious diving header, mind you, 6 yards out from a splendid cross by Fox. After that, Stoke's policy was obvious. Catch them on the break, Fletcher hold the ball up, see what Ince and company can make on the quick counter-attack. At the other end, though, Blackburn had most of the possession, most of the fancy work. Douglas hit the inside of the post. Armstrong and Elliott, though, have been kept quiet. It's Stoke 1, Blackburn 0.
Goalless at the Den, Will Perry.
Yeah, Millwall 0, Forest 0, both looking for back-to-back wins. Millwall mid-table, Forest just above the relegation zone on goal difference. The home side had a penalty waved away. Jed Wallace's shot struck a Forest arm. If we had VAR, it might have been a bit different story. Mason Bennett had a low curling effort held by Samba in the Forest net, as was Wallace's free kick. Down the other end, a dangerous grab and ball across the 6-yard box wasn't capitalised on, and Yates's pull-back cross had to be turned behind by Bialkowski. 3 words to sum up the first half: dull as dishwater. Millwall 0, Forest 0.
Doncaster have regained the lead at Burton, and it's half-time there as well. Ben Whiteman's 8th of the season came from the penalty spot. Burton 1, Doncaster 2. To Kenilworth Road next, Nikesh Regani.
Yeah, it's Luton 0, Bournemouth 0 at the break, but despite the lack of goals, it's been a really good game actually. Bournemouth started really brightly. They were all over Luton in the early stages. Junior Stanislas and Phil Billing, as well as Dominic Solanke, causing all sorts of problems up front, but they just couldn't find that final ball and get that shot off on target. But as the half went on, Luton have really grown in confidence. They've had the best 2 chances of the match so far. First, Kiernan Dewsbury Hall had a free kick well saved by Asmir Begovic, and Begovic was again called into action a short while later when Danny Hilton struck a left-footed shot from the edge of the area. That one an even better save, diving away towards his right, getting a strong fist on that one. No goals yet then, but surely only a matter of time. It's Luton 0, Bournemouth 0.
Same scoreline at Hillsborough. Naz Premji.
Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry City 0. Plenty of effort and endeavour here. Coventry had the first chance. Max Biamou down the right, shot at goal. His effort turned behind by Westwood. Leo Ostergaard followed up with a couple of efforts as well for Coventry. At the other end, Adam Reach fired over from distance, and the best chance, Liam Shaw feeding Kadeem Harris. His cutback found Josh Windass 8 yards out. His shot expertly blocked by defender Ben Sheaf. At the break, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Coventry 0.
Huddersfield have won their last 3 at home. They look like making it 4. Juliet Ferrington.
Yeah, just as they didn't want to get battered like they did against Bournemouth, the fans were saying earlier, it's going in the way of Huddersfield, this one. 2-0 and very comfortable for it, although both their goals have been massively helped by the visitors. First, Ben Foster messed up good and proper, and Fraser Campbell tapped into an empty net. The second from a corner, straight into their own net by Kapue. Troy Deeney's on the bench today. He might be coming on in the second half. Huddersfield 2, Watford 0.
Next to the Liberty Stadium, where Swansea took the lead early against Barnsley. Is that still the score? Hamish Marshall.
Yeah, that's the half-time score with Swansea ahead. I don't think, though, they can take the points for granted in this one against a side who fought back from a goal down to win their last 2 games. That early goal was